You're watching KPTS, Channel 8.
Production and broadcast costs for Sedgwick County Commission meetings have been underwritten by Sedgwick County. KPTS welcomes comments from the public on its broadcast of the County Commission hearings. Viewers are invited to write to County Commission Broadcast, KPTS, 320 West 21st Street, Wichita, Kansas, 67203.
Good morning. I'm Christy Zukovich. Welcome to the September 9th Sedgwick County Commission meeting. We're glad you're joining us today. And, of course, we use this time to let you know about things going on around Sedgwick County. And first off, we have a new exhibit at Exploration Place. It is called Kansas Kids Connect. It will open Saturday the 12th. It is for children ages 5 and under, and so, again, a great opportunity for you to take your kids to Exploration Place. Also to remind you that the Sedgwick County Zoo will be closed. It's one day out of the year, and that is this Saturday. And they are closed because they are preparing for their annual fundraiser, Zubilee. And, of course, they will be back open on Sunday morning after they get everything cleaned up from the fundraiser. But, again, just to make note that the zoo will be closed on Saturday. Also to let you know, we will be having a ribbon cutting this Friday for a new public works project. It is the Mount Hope Bridge out in Mount Hope, just a mile north of Mount Hope. And commissioners will be out there at 10 o'clock on Friday morning and get that bridge open. I'm sure folks will be very excited to have a new bridge and in time for the fall harvest. So good job, David, to your folks out there. Commissioners, we do have a couple of items on our agenda this morning. We do have appointments of citizens to several advisory boards, and we'll have a proclamation about Preparedness Month, and I'm sure we'll get some tips about preparedness. And my one tip and reminder to you all is grab your shoes before you run to the basement. So there, you've heard it here. Don't forget, grab your shoes. But before we move on...
And Christy, why do you know that's so important?
Because I didn't have my shoes, and my house blew away, and you come up and you say, I don't have any shoes, and there's a lot of glass and a lot of nails, and so I make sure everybody knows, get some shoes before you run downstairs. So, Commissioners, before we move on to the big full agenda, we're going to play Get to Know Your County Commissioners. And I told Commissioner Peter John there's no wrong answer here. So there's no wrong answer. You get commissioner choice. It helps the folks who are here today. It helps the folks online get to know a little bit more about you. And we are going to be talking about the fair, because we know the fair is a good time, something everybody looks forward to in the fall. So we're going to learn a little bit about you and the fair. And Commissioner Norton is not here, so Commissioner Ranzau, you're going to end up with 2 questions today. So we're really going to get to know you.
Okay.
But we're going to mix it up a little bit, and I'm going to start with Commissioner Howell, because this is really the reason why people go to the fair.
Okay.
What is your fair food of choice?
I was just thinking that would probably be the right question.
So,
Oh, man.
pumpkin spice funnel cake, Oreo churros, jalapeno Twinkies, double smoked bacon popcorn, a pronto pup, or the roasted corn?
Might be the most boring one on there, but I think the roasted corn to me is the most interesting to me, so I probably would pick that one.
Okay. Some of those others are just a little out there. You kind of go, I don't know if I'm up for that.
I agree.
And then to walk around the fair if it's hot, and then, I don't know, you might need a little Tums after that. But, all right. Okay. Commissioner Peter John, your favorite 4-H exhibit. Is it the photography exhibit, the baked goods, where you see the pies and cakes and cookies, the rabbits, the cattle, sheep, goats, and pigs, or is it the produce?
I'm going to go with the cattle, sheep, goats, and pigs. Having married a farm girl who had plenty of experience with the animal kingdom, I think that's the area I most enjoy of those choices up there, Christy.
Very good. I had nieces and nephews who showed sheep and pigs and cattle. They lived out on a farm, and so they raise them from little to big, and they're really proud, and kids do a great thing. So that's a great exhibit to make sure you get by. And of course, we know no poultry of any kind because of the potential bird flu, but again, plenty of other animals to see. All right, Commissioner Unruh, taking a ride. Are you going to go down the big slide? Are you going Ye Old Mill, the zip line, the State Fair Railroad, or the ejection seat?
What is the ejection seat?
From what I've
What's going to happen
read,
when I push this button?
that's kind of what it is.
He wishes.
It's a bungee cord with a chair, and it's an ejection seat. So
Well, I bet I'd like to try that.
I'll make sure that Karen knows that.
Okay.
Do you think she'll want to push that button for you?
She probably
Okay.
is.
All right. We're bringing home, Chairman. You're going to have 2.
All right, first I want to let the manager know. Let's get facilities working on that ejector seat. Okay?
Okay, there's concert entertainment. So you have Joan Jett, Sam Hunt, the Oak Ridge Boys, Little Big Town, or Hairball.
Well, you know, I've heard of the Oak Ridge Boys, so I'll go with them.
You got to admit, Hairball is a great name. And it's supposed to be about like rock band era, you know, all those kinds of things. So,
I'll stick with the Oak Ridge Boys.
okay. All right, and now we're bringing it to the very last one.
All right.
It's around the fairgrounds, and if you're going to wander around, what is the must-see? The chainsaw artist, the pig races, the goat milking, or the butter sculpture?
Yeah, well, I like all of those, but I think I'd go with the chainsaw artist. Those are they're using those big tools, but they come up with such interesting design. It's amazing.
It is very amazing that they can come up with that. Those little pigs are darn funny, and I never picked the right one, but, you know, it's fun to watch. Well, Commissioners, the fair is starting this Friday, and, of course, it's right here in our region, right next door to us, so people can enjoy and hope that we have good weather. But we do have important items for you to get to on our agenda. So, Chairman Ranzau, thank you to all of you for playing today and letting folks get to know you all a little bit more, but let's get the meeting underway.
All right, thank you, Christy. With that, I'll call to order the regular meeting of the Board of Sedgwick County Commissioners for September 9, 2015. Madam Clerk, first item.
Invocation to be observed by a moment of silence. Please remain standing for the flag salute.
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Next item, please.
Roll call, Commissioner Unruh,
Present.
Commissioner Norton, Commissioner Howell,
Present.
Commissioner Peterjohn,
Present.
Chairman Ranzau.
Present. Next item.
Consideration of minutes, item A, regular meeting minutes of July 22nd, 2015. All commissioners were present.
Commissioner Peterjohn.
Mr. Chairman, if this motion would be acceptable to my colleagues, I'm going to make a motion that we adopt the meeting minutes of July 22nd as well as all the items B through H, which are meeting minutes of July 23rd, July 24th, July 29th, August 5th, August 6th, August 18th, and August 19th of this year.
Okay.
That's acceptable.
I second that.
Okay, we have a motion second. All commissioners were present for all of those meetings. Madam Clerk, call the vote.
Commissioner Unruh,
Aye.
Commissioner Howell,
Aye.
Commissioner Peterjohn,
Aye.
Chairman Ranzau.
Aye. Next item, please.
Proclamations, item I, proclamation declaring Preparedness Month.
Commissioners, I have the following proclamation to read into the record. Whereas the events of September 11, 2001 forever changed the landscape of a U.S. city, took the lives of nearly 300 Americans, and reshaped the manner in which we now defend our freedoms. And whereas those events also proved that Americans will rally in the face of adversity and support those who are dedicated to ensuring our protection. And whereas 14 years later, those events serve as reminders that we cannot allow fear to run our lives, but instead work to be prepared to live in our new reality. And whereas September 2015 marks the 12th annual National Preparedness Month, which was established in response to the tragic events of 9/11 as an outreach of the Federal Emergency Management Agency in an effort to raise awareness for disaster preparedness in communities nationwide. And whereas agencies across the country work daily to inform, plan, and prepare to reduce the possibility and impact of future attacks and disasters. And whereas Sedgwick County residents also can take steps to be better prepared to reduce effects of an attack or disaster, beginning with emergency kit and plan. And now, therefore, be it resolved that I, Richard Ranzau, Chairman of the Board of the Sedgwick County Commissioners, do hereby proclaim September 2015 as Preparedness Month in Sedgwick County. Encourage all citizens to be informed, make a plan, build an emergency kit, and get involved in preparedness efforts. Commissioners, what's the will of the board?
Mr. Chairman, I move that we adopt the proclamation, and I've got some other comments before we vote on the motion.
Second.
Motion is second. Commissioner Peterjohn.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This proclamation uses the word tragedy. The events of September 11th, 2001, which are vivid for those of us who are old enough to remember and remember where we were on that horrific day, they're not a tragedy. A tragedy is a tornado coming through the town. This were a man-made atrocity, a series of atrocities, actually, and the purpose of this proclamation are absolutely correct, but I think atrocity is a more appropriate word for this resolution than tragedy. I'm not going to get into wordsmithing today, but what the Islamic jihadists did to us on that date and the subsequent events that continue that, I think it's very important that we recognize, and I'm going to be happy to support this resolution this morning. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Madam Clerk, call the vote.
Commissioner Unruh.
Aye.
Commissioner Howell.
Aye.
Commissioner Peterjohn.
Aye.
Chairman Ranzau.
Aye. And we have with us Mark Stump, correct?
Yes, good morning. I represent United Way. I've worked with United Way for almost 30 years now, and actually Commissioner Norton was the one who really got United Way of the Plains involved in the disaster world after the Hayesville tornado. The community needed a leader to help coordinate volunteers, and we stepped forward at that point and haven't backed away since. I serve on a lot of different committees. We do a lot of planning and preparation for the disaster world. I'm current president of the state VOAD, Voluntary Organizations Active in Disaster, and so that encompasses the Red Cross and the Salvation Army and the United Way and all of the faith-based groups, from the Baptists to the Methodists, the Catholics, the Adventists. All of them are very, very active. And we don't wait for a disaster to happen. We're constantly meeting, exercising. We do a lot with emergency management, not just in Sedgwick County, but across the state. We want to be able to respond, to be able to help people in the process of preparing, but also then when we get to that point of recovery and getting back to a new normal. So I appreciate the opportunity to accept this on behalf of the thousands of people that are working daily to try to meet that objective of preparedness and recovery when we get to that point. So,
Thank you, Mark. Thank you very much for being here. We appreciate all your work.
thank you very much.
Madam Clerk, next item.
Appointments, item J, approve the resignation of Thomas ENETTEL to the Sedgwick County Animal Care Advisory Board.
Commissioners, Patricia Parker, Assistant County Counselor. You have before you Mr. ENETTEL's resignation from the board. I would recommend that you approve the resignation.
What's the vote?
Chairman, I move we approve the resignation and thank Tom for his service. He is taking a position with the Hayesville Police Department, not just as animal control, but he's getting ready to go through the academy and take another position. So he doesn't think that he's going to have the time to serve.
I'll second that motion. Madam Clerk, call the vote.
Commissioner Unruh.
Excuse me, aye.
Commissioner Norton.
Aye.
Commissioner Howell.
Aye.
Commissioner Peterjohn.
Aye.
Chairman Ranzau.
Aye. Next item, please.
Item K, approve the resignation of Don KLAUSMEYER to the Wichita-Sedgwick County Metropolitan Area Planning Commission.
Commissioner Peterjohn.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm going to make a motion that we approve the resignation, and I want to publicly take this time to thank Mr. KLAUSMEYER for his service to the community in this position. His circumstances, he contacted me and made this request, and I want to take this public opportunity to thank him for his work on this commission.
Second.
Madam Clerk, call the vote, please.
Commissioner Unruh.
Aye.
Commissioner Norton.
Aye.
Commissioner Howell.
Aye.
Commissioner Peterjohn.
Aye.
Chairman Ranzau.
Aye. Next item, please.
Item L, resolution reappointing IGNACIO AYALA to the Sedgwick County Community Corrections and Advisory Board in one of the at-large positions.
Your Honor, sorry. Excuse me. Commissioners, you have before you a resolution reappointing Mr. Ayala to this board. I reviewed the resolution, and as has Mr. Papoon, who has approved it as to form, and I would recommend that you approve it.
What's the will of the board?
Move we adopt the resolution appointing Mr. Ayala.
Second?
We have a motion and a second. Madam Clerk, call the vote.
Commissioner Unruh.
Aye.
Commissioner Norton.
Aye.
Commissioner Howell.
Aye.
Commissioner Peterjohn.
Aye.
Chairman Ranzau.
Aye. And I believe Mr. Ayala is here to be sworn in.
Good morning, Commissioners. All right, if you raise your right hand. I do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States, the Constitution of the State of Kansas, and faithfully discharge the duties of the office of Sedgwick County Community Corrections Advisory Board, so help me God.
I do.
Congratulations. Thank you.
Thank you. I just want to say to all the commissioners, thank you for the opportunity to have been on the board and serve in the community up to this time and also into the future. So thank you for your time. I know you have a busy agenda, so have a great day. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for your willingness to serve. We greatly appreciate it.
Yes, thank you, sir.
Next item, please.
Item M, resolution reappointing Joe Johnson to the Wichita-Sedgwick County Metropolitan Area Planning Commission.
Commissioners, Mr. Johnson's appointment is actually Commissioner Unruh's appointment, and again, the resolution has been is in proper form and has been approved as to form. I would recommend its passage.
What's the will of the board?
Mr. Chairman, I move that we adopt the resolution appointing Joe Johnson to the MAPC.
Second.
We have a motion and a second, Joe. I don't know how this one's going to turn out. Madam Clerk, call the vote, please.
Commissioner Unruh.
Aye.
Commissioner Norton.
Aye.
Commissioner Howell.
Aye.
Commissioner Peterjohn.
Aye.
Chairman Ranzau.
Aye. And Mr. Johnson is here to be sworn in.
Please raise your right hand. I do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States, the Constitution of the State of Kansas, charge the duties of the office of Wichita, Sedgwick County Metropolitan Area Planning Commission, so help me God.
I do.
Okay. Thank you.
You know, as you get older in life, you need to have some defined things. And by being on this board, you know where you're going to be every other Thursday afternoon. So that's good. I've enjoyed serving on it in the past and look forward to it in the future, and thank you very much for the appointment.
Thank you, Joe. Next item, please.
Item N, resolution appointing members and reappointing a member in the positions of journeyman plumber, master plumber, jointly appointed public at large, and Board of County Commissioners mechanical engineer in the Metropolitan Area Building and Construction Department Board of Appeals of Plumbers and Gas Fitters.
Commissioners, this resolution appoints in the journeyman plumber position Seth Harrington, who replaces Jerry Short, whose term has expired. Master plumber position Kelsey Leidy, replacing Eric Vale, again, whose term has expired. And the jointly appointed position public at large Larry Dottie, replacing Rodney Ketzner, whose term expired. You also have a reappointment of a mechanical engineer, Keith Brewer. Again, the resolution is in proper form, and I would recommend that you approve it.
What's the will of the board?
Mr. Chairman, I would make a motion we would adopt this resolution.
Second.
Normally, we don't ask for any public comments on our appointments, but I think there may be some desire today. Just give us your name and address for the record.
Lonnie Wright, 1721 South Lulu, Wichita, and thank you. And I welcome the appointments, particularly Kelsey Leidy. He taught our code and been instrumental in our trade. And I have no problem with the appointments, but I do have two questions so I can understand the thinking that I feel is different here. When we appoint people on technical boards, we do that for their experience, you know, what they know. And in discussions here with Commissioner Howell, you've expressed your desire to have someone lacking experience or having less experience. So I'm wanting to ask for our trade boards and all of our citizen boards, is there going to be a preference for less experience over experience? And then secondly, on education, when we've established specific things, if a lawn sprinkler, a drain layer, a worker, or a master, we expect them to represent that voice. In our union, all of us are workers. We're all journeymen. But many seek, and so do other tradesmen, additional certifications, like the master certification, black flow, medical gas. And your feeling is a person, if they have that additional education, if I understand it right, then they aren't qualified. So my second question, first one, experience. The second one, is education going to be a limiting factor for all positions, for our trade boards or other citizen boards? And you don't need to answer. But those are two questions that I wanted to try to understand. I'm not going to argue with you whether I think it's right or wrong, but I'm just saying from our past practices, this reflects some different thinking. And it would be a value of us to understand the thinking.
Thank you, Lonnie. Commissioner Howell.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would like to go ahead and answer your questions, if you don't mind. That'd be great. To your first question about advocating for less experience, that's not what this is about. This is a 7-member board. The city has 3 appointments. The county has 3 appointments, and there's 1 member appointed at large. It's a joint appointment between the county and the city. One of the appointments by the city, one of the requirements is it's a master plumber. One of the requirements for the county is we have one that's a master plumber. And we have another slot on the county that requires a journeyman. And I have talked with Mr. Stoltz about this, trying to understand why those requirements are listed the way they are. And I think that the intent of the board, again, there's also mechanical engineers, there's a supplier position on there. I think the intent of the makeup of that board is to provide diversity
So they cover the perspective of people all over the spectrum, if you will, of the plumbing trade. Someone who is a journeyman is up and coming into the position of the plumber position. They started out as an apprentice, maybe even a helper, an apprentice to journeyman, and then hopefully moving up to master at some point. So someone that's a journeyman is one that is presumably newer to the field, perhaps trying to get established in the trade, and they bring a different perspective. And I think that the intent of the 7-member board with those descriptions provides diversity, which I think is healthy for that board. They bring a lot of different perspective, and so when issues come before the board, they understand the different viewpoints. And if you have 3 master plumbers on there and no journeyman, then I think that you're missing out on that aspect of it. To the extent that I think your second question was dealing with advocating for less education for all workers. Is that correct? Or for all?
Yes, your point that if a person working as a journeyman, I mean, 80% of our people are journeymen, and they are for their lifetimes. They're workers. We don't have that many people owning companies. Well, we do have quite a few, but most people are workers, and that isn't something they work up to master. You know, that is a lifetime thing. So here we have a person that works as a journeyman, but you consider him not qualified because he also got the additional education of a master's.
Yeah, so the question is dealing with one of the positions is that we're replacing someone who is, just so the listeners understand, the person that currently fills that position is a master plumber. And what we're replacing him with is one that's actually a journeyman plumber. And the one that's a master plumber has been doing some of the work as a journeyman, I understand. But he actually has been a plumber for a very long time and has done a good job. You know, he's a master licensed plumber. And so, again, trying to find that diversity on that board, I wanted to get someone who is a journeyman, who represents that position as it's described on the board appointment description that we have. You know, if they exceed that, then again, I think they bring a different perspective. I'm not advocating for less education necessarily or less experience, but I just think that having someone who's a journeyman who is, I guess, at that position in their career path brings a different perspective versus someone who's an established master plumber. And that's the intent.
I appreciate it. I can't say it's clear in my mind, but I appreciate the discussion, and I'm sure as time goes on, maybe there'll be understanding. But I appreciate you talking with me. Thank you.
Commissioner Peter John.
Well, thank you, Mr. Wright. If you'd stand for a couple questions.
Don't ask me history questions. For years, I'm nervous you're going to ask me a history question that I don't know the answer to.
I'll try and make it very topical. I've heard you described as a retired plumber.
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yes.
Do you know how many plumbers there are in Sedgwick County?
No, I don't.
You have a ballpark estimate?
Maybe 2,000. Probably Mr. Schultz may have a better broad idea. It's been.
Do you have any idea how many would be of that roughly 2,000 might be journeymen versus masters?
No, I would say out of the 2,000, about half of them are union people, and so I would say maybe 60 to 80% don't get that additional education.
So they'd be journeymen?
Yes.
Okay. Well, were you a master or a journeyman?
Yes, master.
You were a master?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And thanks for no history question.
You're welcome. Well,
we do have a motion in a second, correct?
Correct.
Madam Clerk, call the vote.
Commissioner Unruh.
Aye.
Commissioner Norton.
Aye.
Commissioner Howell.
Aye.
Commissioner Peterjohn. Chairman Ranzau.
Aye. Next item, please.
New business, item O, report of the Board of Bids and Contracts regular meeting of September 3, 2015.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners. Joe Thomas, Purchasing Director. The meeting of the Board of Bids and Contracts for September 3rd results in only one item this morning for you to consider, And that item is the tub grinder for environmental resources. The recommendation is to accept the low proposal from J&D Equipment Company, doing business as American Equipment Company, their option number 1, in the amount of $295,918. I'll be happy to answer any questions you may have, and I recommend approval of this item.
Commissioners, what's the will of the board? Commissioner Unruh?
Well, Mr. Chairman, I'd be pleased to make a motion that we approve the recommendation of the Board of Bids and Contracts, but I do have a question. Was there going to be another piece of equipment in conjunction with this?
Yes, sir. That piece of equipment, the dollar threshold allows it to go to the acting manager for approval.
Okay, thank you for that clarification. But my motion stands.
Second.
We have a motion, second. And Joe, from last week, we had an item that was deferred. Is that going to be on next week?
Yes, sir. That'll be presented to bid board tomorrow and will come before you next week.
Okay, very good. I don't see any other questions or anything. Anyone from the public who'd like to speak on this item? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, call the vote.
Commissioner Unruh.
Aye.
Commissioner Norton.
Aye.
Commissioner Howell.
Aye.
Commissioner Peterjohn.
Aye.
Chairman Ranzau.
Aye.
Thank you.
Next item, please.
Consent agenda.
Ron Holt, Acting County Manager. Commissioners, Chairman, and Commissioners, you have the consent agenda items P through J. Recommend your approval.
Commissioners, what's the will of the board?
Move we approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
Madam Clerk, call the vote.
Commissioner Unruh.
Aye.
Commissioner Norton.
Aye.
Commissioner Howell.
Aye.
Commissioner Peterjohn.
Aye.
Chairman Ranzau.
Aye. Next, we move to legislative issues. Now, do we have anything for that,
No,
Mr.
sir.
Manager? So then we'll move on to other. Commissioners, do you have anything for the other portion of our agenda? Commissioner Peterjohn?
Well, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I do have a couple items to bring up today. It was mentioned earlier that we've got the biggest public works project. Sedgwick County has 582 bridges. We also have 600 miles of roads that are a responsibility of our system. And the biggest public works project we had this year, we're going to be reopening a very important bridge for the folks who are in the northwest part of the county, or folks in the rest of the county and out of county who travel through the northwest part. Basically, if you want to get across the river, the big Arkansas River, you've got to, we only have 2 bridges from 151st Street West all the way to the county line. And one of those has been closed since, I'm going to look at the Director of Public Works. I think we closed that bridge, I think it was the first or second week of November last year, maybe the last week of October. Am I in the ballpark on that, Mr. Spears?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. So it's been just under a year, but it's been a major imposition for the folks who are living in the northwest part of the county. This is an 800-foot-long bridge. It's a major project, and the importance of it is such that I had requested several, actually, when we really started out this project, I know how important it was for the folks in that part of the county. So we're going to have an official reopening Friday morning, and I'm looking forward to attending there. And welcome the public and anyone else interested. I plan to walk the bridge before we officially open it, and it'll be get a good piece of exercise just crossing that bridge over and back. Mr. Chairman, I'd be remiss if I didn't point out that this day is a very important day in American history. On September 9th, a number of interesting and important events. The Second Continental Congress on this date in 1776 makes official the term United States for the very first time. And on this date in 1850, California became a state. We had the first presidential birth on this date in 1893 when Frances Cleveland, wife of President Grover Cleveland, gave birth to a daughter, Esther, in the White House. But probably I think the most interesting from a Kansas perspective is on September 9th, 1957, Kansas's own President Dwight D. Eisenhower signed the first civil rights law that was enacted since Reconstruction. So September 9th is an important day in American history. And I wanted to get that on the record this morning. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Commissioner. Seeing no other items for our other portion of the agenda, we'll move to the executive session portion, and we do have a need for executive session. Commissioner Peterjohn?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I move that the Board of County Commissioners recess into executive session for 25 minutes to consider personnel matters of non-elected personnel, and that the Board of County Commissioners return to this room from executive session no sooner than 10 a.m.
I'll second that motion. Madam Clerk, call the vote.
Commissioner Unruh.
Aye.
Commissioner Norton.
Aye.
Commissioner Howell.
Aye.
Commissioner Peterjohn.
Aye.
Chairman Ranzau.
Aye. We'll now move to executive session. We're now back from executive session. No binding action was taken. Mr. Manager, anything else come before the commission?
No, sir.
See none, we are adjourned.
All right.
Thanks, everybody.
Production and broadcast costs for Sedgwick County Commission meetings